Hello again. Welcome back to another episode of The Works. I'm Jim.
I'm Diane.
Just follow up since our most recent conversation episode on DNA testing, which I thought was kind of interesting. Well, I think they're all interesting, but that's to be debated. The DNA testing's in the news. I mean, not that it hasn't been in the news, but I happen to notice it since we recently talked about it. And we're from North Carolina area. Robert Murdaugh, who recently got his conviction overturned for murdering his wife and kid.
Allegedly, yeah.
Now he's going to be in jail for quite some time because of the whole financial thing that he was charged with. But so they're thinking, well, during the retrial, one of the things that the defense is going to bring up is the whole DNA angle, which is you and I kind of the basis of our conversation. Is the techniques have improved, and likewise, when you're in an environment, in this case, the Murdaugh's home, his DNA was all over the place,
as it should be.
As it should be. How does DNA testing either disprove that you didn't do it or did it in this particular case? So, the reason I bring this up is because, like in that case, DNA testing is a little bit more current in its techniques and its abilities to find whatever, right?
Right.
But then you look, also in the news, the JonBenét Ramsey kidnapping. That years ago.
It was murder. It wasn't kidnapping.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The for many, many years, the father was implicated in that. And the whole family was finally cleared. But what's in the news just last couple of days is apparently the prosecution's DNA expert has recently admitted that for the last 20-odd years that she falsified results of DNA tests.
Right. If she didn't like one result, she would send it off to another
lab to get the results that the prosecution wanted. So I mean, it just absolutely rotten. My point that we brought up, and my point now is that we're relying on the results of this to prove something absolute 100%, and we've got people in jail, prison. Right. I've learned the difference between jail and prison recently. Not that I was involved in being in either one of those institutions, but we've got folks in prison that may or may not have done something, but convicted because of DNA, and there is a project, the wrongful prosecution of folks with it's all about the DNA that is now starting to open up these cold cases that are 20, 30 years old, and now there's getting convictions. Again, people that are guilty of something should certainly go to prison, but
before there were DNA testing to exclude you, some people spent decades in prison, and the fact that now that they can test it, they realize it was not their DNA there, and they were exonerated.
Yeah,
but
like I said, it's like with using the Murdaugh example. It's how is having DNA on the victim, or however they used it in this particular case, actually relevant to when you live there? I mean, you got DNA everywhere, right?
Right. Well, maybe he had their blood on his clothing somewhere, but I mean, I'm clumsy. I bump into things. I cut my fingers. I, scratch a mosquito bite till it bleeds. I mean, I'm sure if they tested anything that you have, there might be, you might have some of my blood on you just because.
Oh, great. No, we've got evidence of that fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate that. Also, we took the perspective that there are a lot of folks that are relying and using these results from DNA testings to help them determine whether or not they're going to treat their cancer, which they don't have yet. But like in the BRCA situation, get mastectomies and do these radical things because the test said, yep, you got the gene. And there is a propensity that those with that Well, it wasn't a gene. It was the mutation of that gene on the DNA strand that may cause cancer. And so there's a couple of physicians out of Cedars-Sinai, oncologists, that are now using these results to treat you differently. And in this particular case, like with the BRCA, say, hey, look, these are the folks that if they get it and, they're going to have an issue with it, we're not going to give them chemo. We're going to try a different treatment because, let's face it, they were going to have it anyway. So it's they're using this as some predetermined, prognostication of a diagnosis that I find that dangerous. And
is the different treatment, does it work better on them, or is it, we're not gonna waste treating you because even if we get rid of it today, it's going to come back in 5 years, and we don't want to treat you for the next 15 years.
Well, again, that's a fair point because it's if we've established, or again as a treatment tool, chemo has been it. We don't really have any other good solutions.
Right? Radiation,
chemo. And so the fact that they're willing to avoid chemo and try something radically different because, again, of this potential indicator that you have.
Then why doesn't everybody get that one if it's so good?
I find it, well, and again, this is new, right? So we're not going to know in 5 years. It'll take 5, 10, 15 years for us to realize based on these clinical studies. And, of course, I hate to tell you that if they got it wrong, they're never going to admit it.
Right.
And, of course, here's the irony is in business news, the deoxynucleic ribonucleic acid testing market,
DNA or RNA,
yes, is predicted to have a 20% annual growth year over year.
Because people want these results.
People want these too. Yeah.
So you're giving, because you deserve this information, we're willingly giving it up our genetic material. Okay.
Well, again, the way it was sold initially is, how fun would it be to know your ancestry and then try to find all these missing relatives and all that horse shit.
That I'm really related to the queen, I'm not.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah. And what do you get for that?
I don't know.
But, of course, if you're a Native American, you get some land somewhere, right? Or some reparations. But
only if you're 1/8.
Oh, it's 1/8. Okay, yeah. But anyway, we had talked about that. I just thought it was interesting that some of those things have recently come up. The main thing we wanted to
our topic today.
Well, and you heard in our preview and
customer service.
Yeah, where is it? I mean, it's been, with computers and some of the automation, 20 years ago. One of my favorites was when you'd call a call center, and before you got to a human, you get that voice that was talking to you, and then
press 1, press 2.
But when you finally got somebody, and they go, well, let's look up your account, and I don't mind giving that AI interface or whatever you want to call it, some basic information. One, you can glean it from my phone number, and or if you can't get it from the phone number that's calling you, I'm willing to put in an account number or something to help identify who I am.
Right.
I have no problem doing that before I get to a real person. My favorite one was, you had that fake computer typing going on after you gave them some information. Let me look that up. Click, 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 click. But now with, of course, AI taking the world over, it's becoming nearly impossible to just say live representative or real person, or just to avoid all of that AI stuff.
Right. And don't some people say that the trick is you start swearing and that it immediately gets you to a representative?
I didn't know that. So next time
we got to try that next time.
Yeah, in the room by myself, that's what I'll blame it on. But
cork soaker.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I happened to find an SNL video on an old one on the wine industry. They were cork soakers.
That was
hysterical. It's hard to say without saying the other way, but
yeah.
So customer service, I guess, were for us a couple of recent incidents that popped to mind, and whether or not this is something that kind of got to you or something you've noticed. One, UPS, or I'm sorry, USPS. Forgive me, UPS is a whole other ball of wax, but USPS, United States Parcel Service, right? Recently, it was announced, or at least we found out the hard way, that for the safety of their carriers, no longer is a vehicle allowed to back up more than 75 feet. I know you're asking, what does this have to do with customer service? Well, here's the reality, is there are quite a lot. I guess, remember the days where the postman used to come to your door, and they don't do that anymore?
Right. There was a walking route. They would walk door to door, and
So
your mailbox was at the house, and now it's at the end of your driveway or at the end of your street even.
Well, you know how they got out of that? They got out of that because of the whole dangerous aspect of it. So the Postal Service got the carriers out of
the
walking part. Now, and again, in reality, just be honest with us. It's more efficient to stay in your vehicle and deliver to the end of the to a mailbox. I don't disagree with that concept, but if don't bullshit us and say, well, this is for their safety. The reality for how this is about, and my story is, with this recent change, it's just that they want to, I guess, provide, in my mind, less customer service. I know it's hard to think about this part of the government. They're not really the government, right? They're their own little entity. They're not supposed to make money, but at the same time, they're kind of supposed to break even. But it's hard because you're now competing against, UPS and FedEx and hell, Amazon, and that whole situation where Amazon got all this free shipping through USPS because, Amazon was bringing all these jobs to all these areas, which they are. I mean, it's just nothing. Everyone's a driver for something or has something to deliver,
right?
Except for the post office. Which my point now is,
so if it doesn't fit in your mailbox,
so if
they can't bring it to your door.
So if you have a package, exactly anything that will not fit in your mailbox, and most people have a mailbox that, again,
small boxes
if you're
can
buying,
fit,
it's to a certain degree, but people buy things.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, and my point, the connection between Amazon and USPS now, it's almost, you can't tell the difference until when it's supposed to be here, it shows up 3 days late. Why? Because it was USPS that was supposed to deliver it, not Amazon. Right?
Right.
So USPS has now decided that they're not allowed to back up their vehicles more than 75 foot per address in order to deliver something. So in essence, for a lot of folks that live
in the country,
in these rural routes, I hate that word. Go ahead and you say it. Rural. That they've got driveways that are more than 75 feet. You drive down a driveway that's 75 feet and you back. The point is that driveway now is considered unsafe for them, and they won't be able to bring you anything that won't fit in your mailbox. So that means you have to go pick it up
at the post office.
Which then, I guess what I'm afraid of, or that I'm hoping that we all get smart as consumers, let's stop using USPS if we've got anything that we know that won't fit in the frickin' mailbox.
Right.
Why? Because we're going to have to go get it. And I know it's interesting because...
And we all want it to deliver to your house.
Well, yeah. Who does...
If I have to go somewhere to pick it up, I'm going to... If I have to go to the store to pick it up, I don't know.
Which, this is why I need to spend some time on the website, because I've got some great videos of me videotaping, or our security system videotaping, the frickin' Amazon people using our front yard as a cul-de-sac. I can't wait to post these videos for you where our front yard is a leach bed septic system. And the danger of anything of any weight driving on that, one, is I was cringing when I saw the video the next morning, because we had something delivered. They were late. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and sure as shit, I'm watching the video, and the UPS or the Amazon people, they didn't want to back out of the driveway.
So they turned around.
Or they use, or we've got a driveway where you can actually do a 3-point turn, but of course that whole, no one tests you for parallel parking anymore, so nobody knows a 3-point turn, right? So instead of backing up, they decided to use our front yard as a cul-de-sac and just turn around, did a circle right around that big tree. You remember this? You're looking at, okay. Anyway, so that's the issue with USPS, is that they won't back up. And in this particular case, like where we live, we're on a 45-mile-an-hour road. And I don't blame them. It's dangerous. But what's next? Now it's sweet because we live in such a small town. And I walk in and they know us. They know, I mean, by name. It's not like we're famous here in town, but, and I asked them, what suggestions do you have? They said, well, you can put out a cooler in the morning if you know you're going to get a package. I go, well, that's kind of dangerous if, people stealing packages all the time, right? And there's, first of all, if I see a cooler alongside the road, hell, I'm just saying, I don't care what's in it. That's bonus. I got me a free cooler.
Right.
But, so now you have to go pick up any parcels that are too big to be delivered to your mailbox because, again, and I was likening it to the idea of when they did away with the, door-to-door delivery. They did that because, dogs, and again, I get the idea, But so here we've got a situation with USPS now that this new rule went into effect. So we were contemplating getting a P.O. box, but then that opens up a whole can of worms. So, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing. It's no one, it's, your local carrier, it's not their fault. They're just following the rules. But, just slowly, you wonder how long they will be around. Because it was earlier in the year they were talking about that this might be their last year in existence because of the fact they have, they wanted to raise the price of their first class stamps to like 96 cents. I mean, it's crazy. But at the same time, everything costs way more than it did 2 years ago. So the other customer service situation, and it was going to be a topic that I wanted to bring up anyway, but I don't want to focus on the negative too much. But one of the things that, does anyone, I know you and I, we discovered Topgolf a few years ago.
Yeah.
Topgolf, what I was, you and I were talking about this. If you think about all the pastimes, all the things that families used to do, back in the olden days, whether it's drive-in movies.
Right.
Is there anything that you can think of that, let's face it, wouldn't stand the test of time? You have to give, and here's a little bit of history. So there are twin brothers from the UK that started this Topgolf thing back in 97 in the UK. And their issue was that golf took too much time and there wasn't the facilities from a driving range perspective around. So they decided to modernize the driving range golfing game. And it's absolutely brilliant what they've done. Because it's not just a driving range, with the advent of technology, there's a little chip in the ball that tracks your ball as soon as you hit it. You get the height, the distance, the speed, the angle, and you can play Angry Birds if you want at the same time. Yeah.
I mean, and it's fun. Where the driving range was only those that liked to play golf, they would go to the driving range just to practice. But now this brings it to everybody that wouldn't normally have an opportunity to swing a club. That here's a social situation, and they bring you food and drinks.
Well, that's the beauty. Is to your point, if you truly are a golf person and want to work on your game, it gives you enough stats to understand whether or not, again, if you've got to be somewhat savvy, if my club speed isn't great, if my angles are off, it gives you enough statistics to help you improve your game. It gives you something more interesting to shoot at than a marker that says 250.
Right.
You got an actual pin in the ground. That's the best part is your ball goes into these little, contraptions, if you will, these nets. It looks like a green,
Mm-hmm.
but there's little segments all around it. So
you get points for it.
You get more points the closer you are to the center.
Well, you don't have to bring clubs.
You don't bring clubs. The ball automatically dispenses for you when you wave your club over the sensor. It's absolutely brilliant.
It was.
It was until, and again, I'm not knocking Topgolf, but so again, I wonder if we're trying to take AI or take the use of technology too far. So our last visit, most recent visit, one, the food has gotten, there's something wrong with, I don't know. This is the second time that I like their pizza, or the nobody calls it pizza anymore. It's flatbread.
Yeah.
So we get there, and what's always fun from my, because and maybe I take it too far, but I always have a good time with the server, right? That's part of the fun.
It's the experience.
It's you're in it. So the first thing we sit down, and the whole check-in thing is automated now. You check in online. You got your app. You don't have to interface with anybody. So you get to your bay. Everyone's phone numbers are in there, so we all know who's playing. And the next thing you know, here comes this kid. Well, I'm thinking is our server, right? I need a glass of water, something to drink. And he comes over and, goes through the spiel about don't get, one person behind the yellow line at a time, yeah. And of course points out the QR code on the table, and that's what you're supposed to use in the app to order food. And I'm shocked. It's like, you're kidding me. You want me to order and interface only with the app? And sure shit, that's the goal now, supposedly at Topgolf, is
you don't have a server.
You don't have a server.
But nobody comes back. So I'm okay ordering on the app. But then you need to have somebody come by the table to see if we need anything. Was the food okay? Do you need anything? No follow-up.
Well, so again, I'm willing to try something. So I've got the app, and right away, here's the use case that I don't think they thought of. I order a beer, Corona. I want a lime with it. Can't add that. Don't have to notate on the app. I want a lime. Funny part was, I grabbed somebody else who comes by. I don't know what she was grabbing us for, something, plates or silverware, and that's a whole other issue. Why do you have to ask for silverware and plates anymore? Anywhere you
napkin.
go. I mean, for God's sake, it's a frickin' restaurant, right? Or we're all supposed to carry our wood spoons and forks with us that we reuse.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
okay.
That's what it is. But so I happened to track somebody down, said, hey, look, here's a problem. I used your app to order something. But with a Corona, I want a lime. She looks at me, and again, I was a little bit optimistic. She says, oh, I can do that for you. So guess what? I got a Corona with a lime in it. And then guess what showed up 2 minutes later? The one that I ordered on the app. And I didn't want two of them right then and there. I wanted one. And of course, the one that I ordered on the app didn't have any limes.
Yeah.
Then I asked for a lime. And at the same time, I said, can you take this other one back and put it in the cooler? Because there's no way it's 90 degrees out, and I'm not going to be able to get to it in time before it gets warm. And of course, that didn't happen. So,
right.
Long story short, I think it's, again, is it, you pontificated that we don't want servers. Is it that no one's being, their jobs are now a part-time thing? These generations of kids now only want to work part-time, and the rest of them want to video blog their travels across the country,
right,
doing their stealth camping at a Walmart or Buc-ee's.
So maybe they did the order on the app just because they don't have reliable workers. I don't know.
But here's the thing. So then think about the fast forward to the end. What do you tip these people? Because they're nothing but
food runners, yeah.
But again, that's part of the whole experience, and it's just baffling to me that are we truly making this leap where technology is solving all of these problems for us, not thinking about the other problems that not having a real person around will probably alleviate. And so the worst part, well, again, it's all. So of course I get my survey after the fact, filled one out. No response. Got a second one saying, hey, here's your last chance to fill out a survey. But I'm thinking, I already did. But apparently someone somewhere didn't get it. Probably show up with a lime
Yeah.
when I don't want it. But
No, it was funny when you asked, because you had to go through the app to get a cup of ice. We wanted 3 cups of ice because the water on the table was all warm. Yeah, because the quote server hadn't been back to see if we needed anything.
So nobody picks up any of the plates. So you've got a mess sitting on your table.
And when you ask them to take it, so he comes to the table and he empty-handed and said, "So you want 3 cups of ice?" Yeah. So
like what are we going to do with them?
Right.
And the fact that we have
just
water
bring
there.
them.
Yeah, and you're not drinking lukewarm water.
So have it in your hand. Did you indeed want 3 cups of ice? Because I have it right here. No, empty-handed. And then it took another 10 minutes to get ice. Yeah.
It's just, it's baffling. And, well, it's not, I guess. I mean, someone somewhere has made these choices that an app can do it better. And it's truly become the thing. It is replacing people.
Yeah.
Almost everywhere.
I have to order on this tablet. You turn the tablet around for me to do, and then it prompts for a tip.
Well, and yeah, well, my favorite, they say it, they read it to you. Well, you're going to be asked some information. It's like, the first time I go, oh, interesting information. What am I going to look at? And, it's the $1, $2, or $3 question.
Right.
It's not information. It's a handout.
Right. I came up to the counter. I ordered on the tablet. When it's ready, I have to come back to the counter to pick it up. And
yeah, let's just be honest. What it really is, if spend $1, we won't spit in your drink that much. Spend $2, you'll get it with a smile, and $3, we'll bring it to you. So right. I mean, I don't understand.
And then the other thing at Topgolf, the ladies' clubs, the grips were all ripped. I couldn't even use them. I had to go walking up and down the bay to get ones that weren't ripped.
Yeah, and then the funny thing was the bay that ended up getting at least one of those clubs that had bad grips. I swear that the poor kid who got it ended up tossing the club in one of her swings because it fell out of her hand because the grips were bad.
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny. And I know on YouTube we've seen people that have tried to hit the ball and they end up in the net because there's a little net on the second and third floor, so that has anybody actually ever witnessed somebody falling off the front?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But yeah. And of course, well, I guess the other comparison too is it worse dealing with the bot, the AI over the phone, when you're calling, or now the big thing is chat.
Yes.
Every customer service thing seems to be more chat oriented. And I hate to say I have less success with the chat than with the bot on the phone, because ultimately I can get a person. It's not that you can't get a person with the chat, but I don't know. Maybe again,
it goes through a flow chart. There's no art of negotiation with a chat bot. You've taught me that when something has gone wrong, you state what was wrong and then you shut up. You let them try to make amends. You don't ask for certain things, but that dead air space is wasted in a chat bot.
Because it can sit there all day.
Right.
They're not being measured like, and I guess that's the other thing that's interesting. They're not truly being measured. A human customer service rep is being measured by the survey. Mm-hmm. You never get a survey after you've dealt with a chat bot or an AI thing. So the reality is, again, this is where you can make data turn whatever bullshit into whatever reality that you want, is that I've now replaced all of these people, and look, of all the people that I've replaced, that is how much in head count have I saved the corporation. Whereas they're not measuring the success of the customer service that the bot or the AI thing gives you, because that's not the way they measure it. They're only measuring it against those that they've replaced.
Right.
So that's always going to be a positive. Whereas with the human, you're at least held accountable that you need to do a good job.
Right. Well, and the thing is that, yes, these chatbots save companies a lot of money because they don't negotiate. The customer is not always right. So, yeah, you're going to save money because you just proved with your algorithm that these are the appropriate responses. Done. So where's the follow-up to see the customer retention? What happens? Did they ever do the look back to see of all these chatbot conversations? Did we retain that customer? Did they ever buy again?
See, that's my point, is that the corporations they're going to game the system how they want, because from hey, my decision was to replace a human, which is a tremendously difficult decision, with AI. I don't measure them the same way. I'm not going to tell anybody that, but I'm going to measure it because, hey, I've saved the shareholder money. Ultimately, I've saved FTE cost. The reality, though, is that they're not measuring, to your point, customer satisfaction. That measure goes away. And as a matter of fact, I think it's an advent of, as you brought up with me earlier off air, we were talking about some of these companies now that their return policy is, hey, you keep it, we're going to send you another size. I find this incredible, because how is it, first of all, you don't need a human to tell you that.
Right.
That for example, and I'll point out, it's, there are clothing companies that, let's face it, I think they realize the cost of the shipping. I get it. But the fact that they're willing to acquiesce and say, keep what you have, even though maybe you don't like it, or if it's a bad size, it's not like you're going to use it. But the fact that they don't want the inventory back, they're just going to send you a different size or give you credit in the store. I find that incredible. How do we measure, again, I guess you don't need, that's where, again, you're making it, you're ultimately making a non-human decision, because everyone gets to keep it. No one has to send anything back.
Right.
I find that incredible.
Well, and I don't know if that algorithm is in perpetuity, that you could do this constantly. Say you don't like it, you get to keep it, you get store credit, you get more stuff. I wonder how many times you can do this before you're not on the list to have that opportunity. But like you said, that the shipping is a huge factor. And like with the one Cupshe, they keep it and you get 110% credit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They tell me to keep it, right, and I get 110% credit. So that way, I mean, that's great for their general ledger, because, they're not offering a refund, but.
Well, but so are they? How are they dealing with? Is that clothing? Is that a loss though? I mean, because let's face it,
well, it's inexpensive. It's cheap.
I understand
clothing,
that.
But still,
clothing is okay. Yeah, no, I get that. But yeah, so the customer service lament that it just seems like, and I know it's cliche. It seems like no one's willing to go out of their way to, but occasionally you do get a situation where, I'm just trying to think of one that off the top of my head I don't have any.
The Walmart.
Oh, that was an interesting situation. So maybe you knew this. Going to Walmart, had a situation where you all checked out, you left something behind, or in this case, you don't use the self-checkout, but the old-fashioned,
They put it in your basket, yeah.
But,
your buggy.
You all left a bag behind, and of course, it's your word against theirs. I called the local Walmart. They said, well, in a lot of cases, the clerk will bring up a bag after it. They'll take inventory of it. They'll note it, and then the next day or next couple of days, because I'm shocked. I was shocked how many people do this. I went in, but unfortunately, they didn't have any recollection or any record of the clerk that we went to the through the line. They didn't have a bag that they claimed at the end. Now this turned into a training situation, because they went to the security. They went to that time that was on our receipt. We had circled the things that we didn't get. And they painstakingly watched the entire checkout and can confirm that indeed that the bag was inadvertently left in the carousel, not put into our basket. So again, kudos to how Walmart handled that situation. And I guess, obviously, I think their technology there is a huge plus because, again, it's not like it was a loss of they got the inventory.
Right.
In this case, it was also a training situation where the clerk is now more aware that there is a policy about taking it up after your shift and saying, they don't know what they know that we didn't get it. They gave us those items, or at least I had to go shop for those items. And I thought that was great. Yeah. So to your point, yeah, that's a story of a positive customer service.
Right. But it is a little creepy knowing that you're being watched so closely. But it worked to our advantage.
Well, no, I'm fine. And because let's face it, loss is huge.
Yes.
And we're
Theft
all paying
prevention
for it.
is, yeah.
So, well, until next time, appreciate the invite. And as always, please like and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously from a statistics perspective. Big data and all that stuff.
Yeah. Data-driven decisions.
Yeah. So until next time, this is Jim.
I'm Diane.
This has been another episode of The Works.